Welcome back to the Smite Masters. We just had a great second game between Panthera and OMG, where Panthera took the lead 2-0. But let's get ready for the second set of the day with Hindu Man and second stage Adonis.
Second stage Adonis. Thank you, main stage Mandy, for that lovely intro. Obviously, DreamHack is finally here.
I'm gonna get her back.
We've already seen game one. Eager versus Hungry for More is up next. But take into account as well, we just saw China, who, well, at first it didn't look very good for them, but now, well, they've got signs of life there.
I mean, game two, China looked amazing. Unfortunately, though, they had to run into the reigning world champions, Panthera. Up next, though, Eager versus Hungry for More. This is going to be the match, I think, that's probably the hardest to call. It's going to be really close. Neither side really seems to have an advantage on paper. After that, we'll see Red Canids taking on KLG.
And the winner of that will take on Enemy as well. So Enemy will be able to sit down and watch those two teams play it out. And finally, we round out today as well with Paradigm up against Thor as well. And that'll be a great way to end day one. Obviously, semi-finals will be tomorrow as well. But let's go into this game first of all. We've got Eager up against Hungry for More. Eager second seeded here, Kevin, and Hungry for More coming in third, but the run at the end of the season has been amazing.
A little bit of a different style. Eager, one that started off incredibly strong outside of the first 3 weeks. They've looked consistent throughout the split and a very dominant at the top, those top three that came here. And EU, Hungry for More, 1-7, made a phenomenal run to barely qualify over Cringe Crew and Dignitas.
If you don't know that Hungry for More lineup, let's just go through them for 1 second. Coming in from Liverpool, the young lad Variety will be in the solo lane. And then we'll transfer over to the jungle role, I should say, in CaptainTwig, longest LAN run in history of Smite right now, followed by PrettyPriMe in the mid lane. And then to the support role we go, and it's Frezzy, also known as MANALIKE, coming back for another season. And last but not least on Hungry for More, it's Ataraxia with a lovely new hairdo.
That hairdo is something else, but their opponents gonna be big personalities, some big names. It's gonna be Eager. In the solo lane, Divios. His jungler, he's gonna be paired with djpernicus. You can see him getting ready there. Mid lane, TheBest. He's been the best for quite some time. The chunk himself in the support role, it's Aror, and he's gonna be laning up with team captain Hunter and owner of Eager, it's Zapman.
Calm, cool, collected. Oh, there he is. Cheeky grin.
He knew. Ice in his veins, man. He's ice in his veins.
Aror confident there as well. He's just calm and collected there as well. djpernicus, pretty good time for him as well.
And the thing about Eager, though, is like all these players have so much LAN experience coming into this match. That man has obviously competed since season 0. DJ's been around. He wasn't, competing at LANs in season 0, but he was analyst, someone at a very high level. Also done some, I believe, Counter-Strike play where he's been to LAN. So this environment is really where Eager is going to thrive.
Well, both these teams do have a lot of LAN experience between themselves as well. And on paper, when you look at these two teams, in a lot of ways, they're very, very similar.
Yes.
The only difference is realistically the junglers and the supports. They switch styles. One's aggressive, the other one's more defensive. And that's the style for both these two teams.
I think the jungle matchup's going to be a pretty deciding factor. djpernicus, when he's at his best, is so dominant, really controls the fight. He's not really the star player on Eager. All he does is set up for his teammates. He's the initiator. He's the front line. He likes playing these gods that'll be in the fray. And if he dies, he doesn't care if the team wins.
And that's the jungler on the side of Eager, but Hungry for More, CaptainTwig, he's the farmer. He wants to get to the mid-late game stages. He's a counter-initiator, and he waits for his support, MANALIKE, to go in and find the aggression for him. Aror, on the other hand, on the support side, he's the one that will sit back and let djpernicus do the initial.
The question here is this early game versus late game, because we know Hungry for More, once they get into the team fight stage, they're phenomenal. Sometimes a little bit struggling in lane, and that's why adding MANALIKE onto the roster has allowed them to become so competitive, because he is an aggressor. He added a little bit of early game to him and allowed Twig, honestly took burden off of Twig, because he's the one who wants to counter-initiate, like you said. So as long as he has a support that'll go in, it fits the style better. Now Eager, they're all about early game and looking for those picks.
And not just that, Eager themselves said, coming up against Hungry for More here, they feel Hungry for More's weakest point of the game is the early game. And it's true. When you've got a jungler that just wants to sit back and farm and counter-initiate, if you can capitalize on that, you can find some early rotations, a couple of early picks, you can potentially snowball that.
A lot of what Eager does, you can see TheBest on the screen, is play through him. DJ and Aror, they rotate early, they like to fight. It's really this 3v3 core that looks to bully someone, whether it's someone who has low pressure in a lane, or whether it's just a player that they feel could be a weakness. If I'm looking at a weakness on Hungry for More, it's MANALIKE. Now, He has allowed Twig and the team to get better,
Yes.
but he puts himself in really dangerous positions.
But that's his job. That's his job to get in there and cause an issue and maybe even get picked off. He's got one of very, very high deaths for the few amount of games he's played this season so far.
56 deaths in 16 games, where the rest of his team,
Well, look at Aror. Just look at
Ataraxia
Aror.
has 56.
Aror's deaths this season?
83.
83, and MANALIKE's at 56 and played like half the amount of games that we've seen coming out of MANALIKE here. So when you look at those two teams and you see how aggressive that support's going to be, I think Eager should be looking to pick MANALIKE, but making sure they don't get counter-engaged afterwards.
That's probably what they're going to do, and it's going to be an interesting style, because you look at North America, and that's kind of what all the top-end teams started to lean towards near the end of the spring split, is they focused out these supports. The first team to do so, Eager, a wheelish Sobek, that really nasty combo that anytime a support rotated in, because they would only go one relic, and it was almost never purification. North American supports had to start picking it up. And the question is EU going to do the same thing? They haven't played North America since Worlds, and that really wasn't a style back then. The relic system wasn't around.
It's been a bit of a break, as we tune in with Aror there on the screen. You can see he's got pulled, mainly hi-rez and Sobek. He likes to pick it up, but then across the way, MANALIKE, same two gods that they both love going to.
These are two players that like to fight, right? Aror has no qualms about stealing kills. He will steal away as many as possible, but MANALIKE's the same. I think we will see these supports look to be aggressive early, look to force something here. You can see Aror on screen, 2.6 KDA, the 71 win % of Eager, and he's just been such a nice addition when he lanes with Zap.
And this competition of the whole team coming together finally. I mean, on paper, we said they've got a lot of egos on this team,
Yes.
a lot of outspoken players, but they found this synergy. They found the drive as a team. djpernicus himself said, he found a team that all wants to win. That's the main focus point of it. So they'll put those egos to bed if it means they're going to find victories, and they got to land because of it.
And I have to talk about personalities here, too. You can see Zapman. He has been one of the major problems on his own teams for the past couple of years. He's a phenomenal player. He can teach his team how to win, but the problem is, if he starts losing or getting in a bad spot, he tends to get very aggressive on his players. The synergy isn't there. They're very strong squads, however, they just don't have that synergy to match up to their skill level. This squad, though, it's kind of, DJ kind of evens him out, because DJ's kind of that same way, but just the drive to win has allowed Eager to be a top squad in the spring split.
Now, Hungry for More, obviously they started at the beginning of the season, bottom of the standings in Europe here, and made a fantastic run to get that third spot away from Dignitas. And PrettyPriMe there, you can see on the screen. Prime's had a pretty good season, consistent overall, to be fair. He's very solid, just like TheBest in the mid lane. These two mid lanes are going to be very, very even, but you can see GPM there, 448 is around average for that, but the KDA just shows that he doesn't get picked a lot. Position is very important.
High damage as well. He's going to be playing relatively safe, and he's allowed to do that because they have MANALIKE, who's going to be the aggressor on the team. In addition, Variety as well. We haven't really talked on him. He's someone who got a lot of hate, honestly, last season, and even at the beginning of this split, people were still questioning his ability. When he gets ahead, he is so good, but he gets behind just as often. Last couple weeks, though, we haven't really seen that. We've seen a Variety that can carry this team.
I think we're going to see Best and Prime in mid lane play relatively the same style we always see out of them. They're not going to get picked too often. Meanwhile, solo lane is a fireworks show. We could see either of them go overly aggressive, look to try and kill the other one, try and assert dominance. They're both going to try and put the pressure on. But which one will come out on top? Will we see Variety overextend too much, or will it be Divios that just gets outplayed?
It's so funny because you talked about at the beginning where these teams are so evenly matched when you look at the 1v1s on papers, and that's the same thing. Variety and Divios, both players who like to prove themselves. They like to be strong, they like to be dominant, they like to be the frontliners. I'm gonna go back all the way to season 1. Divios, unknown player, unknown quantity, joins the Cognitive Red roster, and all of a sudden, he is soloing every other lane opponent he has. He's spam taunting in your jungle. He's just saying, come at me, I'm gonna fight you. It was a ton of Hercules back then. It was really hard to kill, and Variety has that same just edge to him. You have to in the solo lane, honestly. It's about the 1v1. It's the only lane where you have consistent 1v1s all game.
We talk about 1v1s. Well, I know for a fact that our boy Ataraxia has been practicing a bit of 1v1 with CaptainTwig, just in preparation to come up against Zapman here, just in case we see the old Zapman.
You know what's I don't think we'll see the old Zapman. I think Zapman's calmed down a lot. He still has that streak of aggression, though, and that's what you always have to worry about. I believe it was Jigs I was talking to earlier this week, and he said, Zapman, and I'm going to use the word he used, right? Zapman is this unknown entity where you don't know if he's just being stupid in the positioning he has, or if he's actually looking to force the 1v1 because djpernicus is waiting in the jungle.
Yeah, and because of that, you can see a lot of aggression out of him over in the dueling. And when you look at the two hunters, Ataraxia is a lot like Barracuda in a lot of ways. Playstyle is very similar.
The same.
And when you think of Barracuda versus Zapman, that's the old age classic where you won't really see them fight too much, but there's just both around there. And Ataraxia's playstyle going to fit very similar to that. So Zapman may look to go aggressive, but I don't think he's going to find much. But Ataraxia prepping for this and actually having some 1v1 practice in all the matchups with Twig, it's a really good boost.
And he played Twig. Twig is known as the best 1v1 artist in the game.
He's proved it.
He's learned a ton of matchups, and I'm sure he picks up Hunter very quickly. The mechanical skill is there. It was kind of the decision-making at the beginning of the split where we didn't see him shine. Obviously picked it up since then, but that's a ton of practice for Ataraxia against a guy like Zapman who's going to be the aggressor, who wants to force stuff. Now, he won't, I don't think he's going to do anything crazy, but if a 1v1 fight happens, Ataraxia needs to be ready.
And I think that's what he's looking for this game as well. I'm interested to see about picks and bans for this game too. Obviously, I mentioned Sobek and Ares are both hotly contested by these two. I'd say MANALIKE's biggest couple is those two overall, I want to say. But then, over in the solo lane as well, Divios up against Variety here. On paper, I want to say Ravana.
It's Ravana.
Versus Tyr.
I don't think Igor's scared of Tyr at all. This is a matchup that Divios knows. That's the thing about Divios is his team fully trusts him to know every matchup and know what god to pick in every scenario. This kid's not only played Tyr himself at the highest level, but played against the best Tyrs in the world. I do think an Osiris is a possibility as well. It's got a pretty good matchup. You have the anti-heal as well, a ton of shutdown, and the Tyr is forced to use his ultimate because his Fearless isn't actually far enough to get away from the tether.
But Igor as well, when you look at their playstyle as a whole this season, they've been given dominant laners to Divios all day, so they don't have to worry about him. If we want to see DJ look to go over straight away to the mid lane and get early pressure there, they give Divios a god that can handle the 2v1 early pressure and still keep hold of the lane.
And that's Igor's style. They're one of the first to really adopt it in North America, where they switch up their starts based on their matchups in the 2v2, right? If they feel like they have a losing 2v2, what they'll do is actually they'll start speed buff, then go blue, and that's going to allow Divios to guarantee that lane dominance, so you have at least pressure there. Igor's biggest thing is they don't give up pressure in solo and mid. They will always choose one and at least have an advantage. Obviously, if you can get both, that's such a dominant matchup where you can start to look for invades on rotations after that 4-minute and 30-second spawn. So it's something that Hungry for More are gonna have to be aware of in these picks and bans.
You can see how calm these seem to be now, just getting themselves all ready for this game. Obviously, big stage for Hungry for More here. They weren't expected to do very well in the season at all, especially after the start. Now they find themselves at DreamHack here. Been very calm all weekend. They stayed as a group, which is generally what the Europeans do. They just sit as their own little teams and not really talk too much, but then they've done their homework. They're prepared for this game, and that's a big thing for them. They're focusing one game at a time. Igor may be looking further down the field here.
It's something you have to worry about, and I was talking to some of the teams, and a lot of the EU teams feel very confident.
Nice that, son. I like that.
All the EU teams feel very confident that Hungry for More are going to take it. I've talked to the North American teams, and they're confident that Igor are going to take it. I think that's a little bit of Raijin battling it out, being very favorable to their own teammates around there.
I think the worst thing about this is that Igor and both Hungry for More, they'll face off against Panthera, whoever goes through, and they would have watched Panthera there against China last game. And they didn't really see much. They run the same comp pretty much 2 games in a row with one small change. And at the same time, that'll be in the back of the mind thinking about those games before they go into this one.
That's one of the advantages you have of being first seed. You know, you face a lower seeded opponent, and you can kind of beat them without having to reveal your hand. Igor cannot hold anything back against this HFM squad. Their run, I believe it was 14-3 near the end of the split. So good. I mean, no one's really had that kind of run outside of, I believe, Panthera. Obviously, they only had a few losses here in the split. Still dominant, still the reigning world champions here. And HFM, they're going to come prepared. I think they have a lot of information on Igor.
Oh, what if Variety just banned them? We saw it there. We're into picks and bans, as you can see. Variety showing us on his screen there. There's no messing around. There's straight in a Nemesis immediately from Igor. That's not a surprise, because that comp from Hungry for More has been Raijin, Nemesis, Sobek.
I was thinking they would probably give it up, though, considering they like having high pressure. Nemesis, very weak early game. You can see Igor going to stick to some pretty meta bans there. They always take out Thor. They hate playing against that god. It's a god that DJ doesn't really want to focus on. And HFM, they're going to target out Circuit. A little bit surprising there, but it is a back pocket pick for DJ.
We said, though, how aggressive Igor should be looking to play early on against Hungry for More, who have a weaker early laning game. And because of that, Circuit is great aggression early. They take the Sobek.
They're baiting a wheelish pick here, or a wheelish ban in the second phase. ways. That Sobek Awelish is something that Eager was very known for early on in the split, and they kind of stopped playing it. And I think that could be because they didn't want people to see how fully they could develop that style of play and initiation. And it's going to be fireworks. Bacchus locked in, another very frontline god who's going to be looking for aggression.
But they get Raijin as well for Hungry for More, so they're looking for that old strategies we saw over in Europe. Now, Eager, though, when you see that already, you can immediately look Awelix, because you can pluck Bacchus out of the air, as well as Sobek can set you up for the rest of the team if required. It also limits things like Humbats, Fenrir, for being able to be picked by Hungry for More.
And it's Zeus locked in, so another god that Eager liked to run at the beginning of the split, but they kind of stopped playing. And I think they were preparing for DreamHack, honestly, a couple weeks into this because they were so far ahead in North America. And this is going to be something that HFM might not have prepared for. The question is it going to be the Awelix, or are they going elsewhere? I do think it will be a jungle for DJ, because that's what Eager love to do. They love to get a solid 3v3 core and play that throughout their sets as well.
I want to say Eager probably going to look for Awelix, and then Hungry for More answer back with Humbats, with what I'm expecting here.
Oh, Ravana, that makes sense.
Ravana over for Divios to make sure he gets that dominant opponent. So Awelix should be banned by Hungry for More here. They could look for their jungler here themselves. Or would they look for solo for variety, just because they know they may get focus banned there next?
It's possible, but right now Eager have a really dominant early game. They have the Zeus, Chain Lightning so strong at the mid camps, and then Ravana doesn't lose a single matchup. Osiris is the only one that can kind of come close, but it's not good enough. There's the tier. That's Hungry for More giving variety his best god by far.
And I called Ravana versus Tears what I expected,
Yep.
but they had to pick it here, because if they don't, what ends up happening is that they're going to get banned away against them. Now, though, Eager can focus on the jungle. They can take out Humbats from CaptainTwig, then Hungry for More can answer back with the Awelix, and it's just going to go back and forth between the jungle bans.
I don't think Eager will ban Humbats until Hungry for More ban Awelix, because they're going to want to pick that up. It could be something that HFM look to get as well.
But to be fair, you're going to see Hungry for More get first pick. So they're going to get first pick after this banning phase, which means Humbat should be the first lock-in here.
And you can see Kali banned away. Not a god we've seen in a long time. Apollo taken away by Eager as well, so starting to target out the Hunters. They don't want the global rotation power of HFM, and that is a god that Ataraxia is very dominant on. I believe he had a 46 KDA over 5 or 6 games there in the middle of the split.
Which isn't so bad, honestly, overall, but with his god pull too, we've seen a lot of Chiron out of him now and again, which has been quite surprising too. He likes to go for some of these unconventional Hunters. There's his real expand expected.
It.
And now Eager, well, it's their option. I expect a Humbats here.
It is possible, but it's going to be Jingwei. And Eager are actually one of the few teams that run it. Ataraxia on the other side is the other player that runs it.
Yep.
It's interesting that they banned it, though, because they do have, I guess it's Sobek, right? The knockup is going to allow Jingwei to get away, and if they're looking for the picks, especially on the Hunter, that's just a counter that they don't want to deal with.
And maybe that's the flex option they were looking for here. They had a Awelix band here. They're waiting for the Awelix band to come through, because if it doesn't get picked, they could lock in, instead ban it themselves, just to make sure they don't get it and take the Jingwei for themselves. But still,
it's not going to happen.
No.
There's Raijin already locked in. Not going to have 2 mages there. That's a little bit risky for Hungry for More. They're going to play it safe. They're going to go Hoi.
That was MANALIKE. You could see him giggling there. I'm sure that was him. It was like, yeah, I'm just going to have a Scylla here and watch the casters go crazy. Oh,
that's an instant lock, too. No hesitation. So this is something I heard about that possibly could be coming out from teams. I didn't know if Zapman was running or not, but the Cupid is locked in, and it's actually a really dirty counter to both Hoi and Chiron. Gods that Ataraxia will go to if he's a little bit worried about something. And this, the whole point is that the cripple is coming out much faster after the recent buffs, which means the second Hoi starts up, there is a small animation time where he can be crippled out, brought back down to the ground, forced to purify if he wants to get away.
And that cripple, obviously, on Cupid's ultimate, Fields of Love, going to be coming into effect. Throwing Dagger helps him on the laning phase a little bit, just to clear it off, which is one of the weakest points, but his 1v1 potential. Cupid is very strong at the 1v1.
Damage. Kuang, last pick for Hungry for More. There is a whole lot of burst on this squad. And honestly, Bacchus, Raijin, a lot of free damage on them that should enable Kuang to get into that 30% threshold and almost guarantee pickoffs. I expect that we're going to see some purifications on at least one of these supports.
Now, if Hungry for More do not go Power Potion on Raijin and Kuang, I want them to sit back in mid lane here, because the combo of Zeus and Fenrir can find kills quickly. So can Raijin and Kuang, however, but if they go for the Power Potions.
This is going exactly how I expected it.
Yeah.
Eager have drafted a pick-based comp where they have a lot of pressure in both solo and mid, and they're going to be looking to get ahead early and snowball that out of control. HFM, they're the late game squad. They want to hold out for 20 minutes. They want to stay as even as possible, and it's okay if they get behind. They can be about 5,000 behind, I would say, about 20 into 30 minutes. But if they get a little bit more than that, Eager, they're going to press the gas, and they're going to push for the win.
When you look at the composition on paper, I mean, actually, I don't necessarily think Hungry for More have an advantage late game over Eager's composition. I mean, maybe Kuang versus Fenrir is the only one I can really look at.
I think it's the more guaranteed burst, right?
That's
where
true.
Cupid will take a little bit more wind-up time. Fenrir's obviously obviously going to pluck people out of position.
Ravana.
And it's going to be the Zeus. There's actually a whole lot of dive on this squad of HFM.
Look how pretty all those boys look on the stage there, ready to go in their profile pictures. And we're going into games shortly with these two. And for me, it's going to be mid and jungle to start things off, where I'm going to be looking at. Obviously, we could potentially see the solo and the hunters go off crazy too.
Into game we go. Eager taking on Hungry for More. It's game 1, the second set of DreamHack here. And we're going to be following Aror to start off here. Let's see if they look to ward, and a very early ward in the mid lane, actually.
So there's a power potion online for PrettyPriMe here, but at the same time, there's a big group actually from Hungry for More to the right. They're looking to potentially find someone on the way back to base with Tyr leading the charge.
They were actually really slow out to base. I'm not sure if they were trying to decide on what to do. Maybe they wanted to pick someone off.
We're against the Sobek. They're against the Sobek, so you've got to play safe at the beginning of the game. Let's slow things down. Let's not go too aggressive. We'll lead in with a Tyr, for example, who can fearless away if he does get taken out there. So just make sure you don't get picked early. Expect early wards, expect early placements.
And we're just going to have a quick pause as we take care of some technical difficulties. Guys, we'll get back into game, but let's talk about kind of the 2v2s, right? Fenrir and Zeus should control the mid camps against this Raijin, but it's going to be interesting, and it seems like it's going to be a remake, guys. djpernicus had auto buy on, so blame DJ at home. Make sure to spam that in chat as well. It's all his fault. It's all his fault.
Auto buy.
Come on, man. Auto buy? Really?
It's fine, but it does give us a chance. You mentioned about the mid lane and the jungle composition here. Fenrir, Zeus, with the jumping between Unchained from Fenrir, sets up for the chain line and detonate combination to be available for Zeus just to secure the kill and pick it up. And then if not, you can still brutalize on the way as well.
And they're going to be paired with the Sobek as well. I really think that Aurora is just going to be looking to pick off MANALIKE. The thing is, though, that MANALIKE has gone into Bacchus, so as long as he saves his jump, if he knows that, if he reads that this composition is going to be looking to try and take care of him early on and tries to just farm it out and look to counter-initiate, he's going to be fine.
He needs level 5.
But he is the opposite of that type of player. He's the one who wants to go in, and Bacchus is the character that you go in with.
But if he hits level 5 here on the Bacchus, again, Zeus is very, very strong. Bacchus with the knock-up stops the detonate, stops you getting off the auto attacks, reduces the amount of damage going down, and makes things a whole lot easier to deal with him. If Fenrir jumps in at the same time Bacchus hits Zeus, Fenrir is isolated and alone.
And the thing is that the Kuang, it's pretty low. Obviously, Raijin has a ton of pressure in the mid lane, but Kuang is really lackluster. He needs about 2 items. Typically, you'll see the pin boots into the Dynasty Plate helm, so you have the 25 flat pin, and that's when you really start to swing. But that's not going to be until about 10 minutes, so it's going to be a little bit worrying, honestly, for CaptainTwig to make it there. This is risk reward, honestly, from both teams, because the later the game goes, the better HFM look.
Exactly, and that's what the whole game plan's been. Their early game has been the weakest point all season. Their mid game is strong, and that's what Kuang's going to farm to. Get to that mid game, and then, well, things will start turning around, and they'll let Frezzy or MANALIKE make these plays with the Bacchus, and then Kuang will follow up looking for the kills if he can find them. If not, they can just disengage and walk away happy that they can just hold things off, but they've just got to be so careful about these early rotations from Fenrir and Zeus.
So neither team's honestly doing anything too surprising. I don't think we've seen CaptainTwig on too much Kuang, so maybe that's something that Eager's not exactly aware of if he has in his repertoire. However, Eager kind of running the same thing, right? That they ran in North America. This is a very safe composition for them, and they're going to be up against Panthera next. So depending on how this goes on either side, is that when you start to bring out the crazy comps? Is that when you try to experiment?
Well, the land meta, first of all, is something we've not touched on yet, and that's part of this too. We've got picks and bans here for game 1. They've just got into the game. We're just going to have a quick remake, as you can see. But while that's going on, you've got to take into account that both these teams, one of them's got to face Panthera next. So
brutal.
To get through this team, first of all, you don't want to give away too much. You want to have some more pocket picks. Zapman hasn't hesitated, though. Zap went straight in with Cupid and went, I don't care. This is when I'm going to pull it out straight away.
And I think that's because Zapman knows that this is not going to be an easy matchup. This isn't something that you can hold any punches for. It's something that you have to come out swinging. And Zapman, his drive to win is probably the highest of almost any other person in the Smite scene. I think Chaos is pretty up there as well. I've heard kind of what he's done for Enemy, how much time he puts into VOD reviews, but Zapman has been playing this game for 3 years. He has not been to the world stage once outside of doing casting work, and he wants to go there. This is his first time on the world stage with players from other regions.
From an international scene, yeah. I mean, he did go to, I believe he went to China?
Yeah, the show match in China.
Yeah, so he's been a little bit international, but now, you know, obviously up against Europe for one of the first times in quite a while for himself and this team. And then Hungry for More. Well, this team came together out of scraps.
Yes.
Scraps of other teams that honestly, it was players on teams that people were underrated or undervalued.
I agree.
Variety, CaptainTwig. The only core of this that you could really look at was PrettyPriMe and Ataraxia, the guys who made finals season 1.
And it's really hard, right, when this team came together. Prime, I think, has been the most consistent. From day 1 to the final day of the spring split, he has been the guy that has shown up for every match. Ataraxia, he has that Barra style of play, which doesn't work if you're in kind of a weak team. It really excels if you have a squad that can make it to the late game scenarios and really excel at the team fight. So now that they've kind of picked up their pace near the end of the split, that's now Ataraxia shining. And MANALIKE, he was kind of a guy that was off a team, somehow found his way on in the middle of the split.
It was very strange with MANALIKE because he came out of nowhere. He'd been out on the scene for a little while. He was most well known for his Ymir when he used to play on the side of Mortality. Very aggressive in the jungle, similar play style to Rafa in terms of invading, looking to steal buffs and things. And he's cool, calm, collected, and come into this roster and just made them all click together perfectly. He's the exact player they needed in this situation.
It's a jigsaw puzzle. He was actually the finals piece to HFM's squad. It was just, they had the players, they just didn't have the synergy, and for some reason, it happened to be MANALIKE, it happened to be his aggression that enabled CaptainTwig to kind of play that counter-initiator or backline dive style that allowed Ataraxia to get to the late game, that allowed Prime to have a support that is willing to go in with him and not fearful at those mid-camps and early game fights.
So already in this one, we're looking at early game, should be going the way of Eager just by composition. Got Ravana in the solo lane, so he's going to get dominance over the tier early on. Then you've got the Fenrir and Zeus combination in the mid lane, which we'll see where ends up Fenrir is going, because you like you said, you like to see djpernicus either go to solo lane if they don't think they've got the 2v2 matchup, which they do, or do you want to see him put more bully on tier early?
I think it's going to be mid lane pressure. He definitely doesn't want to allow the Kuang to farm up and get to that late game scenario, get to that spot where he's level 12 to 15 and he can start bursting players down for that 30% range. And just a reminder, guys, here's the picks and bans. I believe they're setting up into that second game. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We'll be getting in it shortly.
Oh, look at the bans though there on the screen, Adonis. So many junglers. Susanna, Circuit, Carly, Weedix, 4, Nemesis. 6 out of 8 bans, all focused to the jungle, and that's why I feel this meta right now is very jungle-centric.
And honestly, you see the other 2 bans were hunters, and I think that was targeted for Zapman to get that Cupid matchup, take away the Jing, take away the Apollo, Gods he doesn't want to deal with, and then just have that cripple matchup, and it looks like aggression coming out from Eager.
It looks like no auto-buy. That's what I see. No auto-buy.
I wonder what he had. I wonder what he had.
I was actually going through the power potions more often than not. Prime's still gone for power potion again. So is TheBest by the looks of it. Both of them picking up power potions here. And it looks like DJ's going to go for 1-2. Twig, on the other hand, with those boot starts in the Kuang, shows me that Hungry for More are going to look for the mid game once again. They're going to have to just allow the storm to be hit onto them over and over again early and weather it.
The storm. Wildstorm. Was that a pun? You really started off this early?
It's day 1, you know? You got to get them out there.
Zapman, Cupid, boys. He's got the throwing dagger, so he will be pretty okay in lane. And that's the thing. Throwing dagger has really allowed the hunter meta to expand immensely. Before it was Soul, it was Chiron, it was anyone with high wave clear and high push.
And the funny thing about Cupid is that he was left out of that pool by a lot of people. I'm not sure why, because when I saw throwing dagger, I immediately thought of Cupid because of the fact that he gets the wave clear early, which is one of his biggest issues. He either heart bombs the wave, and that means he's got no poke, or he doesn't have any pressure and actually pushing the wave early.
Look at this mid-camp start coming out from Eager. And it's actually HFM that are doing kind of the Eager start. They went blue, now they're going to speed, but DJ and Divios, they're not going to let this go for free.
Well, there's a ward, and immediately Hungry for More recognize that. After just doing blue, they're going to go to lane and push this one in. Divios now has a decision because he's seen them. Do I go to lane?
No hesitation.
Do I go for the speed buff? He's going to lane, so is DJ coming too. So we're going to see a 2v2 in the solo.
I like that Divios didn't waffle at all. Immediately comes to lane, and honestly, CaptainTwig in a lot of trouble. He's got nowhere to go.
Already.
He pops his purification, and it's first blood.
That was power potion online, and they just didn't respect the fact there was 2 of them there. Variety's level 1, what's he going to do? All he can do is fearless if he's like a power cleave, that's it.
I don't know how much work HFM put into this game, but they knew Eager, they're the high-pressure team. They want to get ahead early, and CaptainTwig just walks up into a Fenrir Robin with no water illusion online. Massive mistake, and allows Eager to get that first blood and 500 gold bounty.
Well, DJ decided to leave the speed buff, changed his mind and went back for it, so already off to a good start is Eager here. First blood as well on to Fenrir. You don't want to have to deal with that, because that means he's going to hit level 5 a little bit quicker, and look out for the rotations. Already with CaptainTwig down, the best news for him, he didn't start power potion.
So he's got that advantage, and I think he expected to be pressured figured out. I don't know if he wanted to be first blooded at level 1. You can see MANALIKE actually clapping in lane, and that's kind of a mental game for him. He's just trying to tilt the dual lane. He knows his side lanes are behind on the other side of the map right now, so he needs to get something rolling in the dual lane. They need to hold out, and if they can, that's good, but they're not going to be able to do it right now with that first blood.
Great zoning coming out there from the dual lane.
Oh,
Twig again in the mid lane. You can see how low he's been pressured one more time, and this is just Fenrir and Zeus early game. You're going to have to give up the control, especially now that you've lost first blood.
Variety as well. You can see level 3 pushed under tower, no health. He is high enough level to have that switch stance, so he's going to be okay. He will have the heal coming up, but you can see Divios just pushing him back. He's like, walk into that minion, try and get a heal. I'm going to pressure you. And now that's the cooldown. So this next wave is going to go in as well.
Well, this is the whole plan in the early game. Right, he's just got to accept. He's going to give up farm under the tower. He's got to give Divios lane dominance. For now, his jungle's down on that side. He's going to lose a little bit of gold to the tower, fine. But as long as he can keep things going, he'll be okay. The dual lane, on the other hand, this is really good from Eager.
And Zapman, Aror pushed up, and it's so dangerous. Just that Sobek can pluck you out of position at any time, and the heart bomb is guaranteed. Zapman, he's a player who's never going to miss that spot. If Aror serves up MANALIKE, if Aror serves up Ataraxia, the heart bomb's going in. And it's actually a ton of burst. I believe it's 180% scaling on that ability.
Well, it's not only that, but look at the whole team. That Fields of Love ultimate coming out from Zapman will affect Kuang being able to illusion away. It'll affect PrettyPriMe being able to Thunder Crush away. It affects Variety from being able to Fearless. And even Bacchus can't leap out.
This is bad.
This whole team is in trouble.
This is really bad. It's a 1,500 gold lead. There was only one kill, which is the 500 gold first blood. That means 1,000 gold farming ahead at only 2.5 minutes. Now hitting 3. djpernicus just backed. Full boots at 3 minutes. CaptainTwig backed as well. Only boots 2. This is such a massive power spike, and I do expect Eager to take advantage of it here on this first spawn of the buff.
It's just very smart play from Eager early on. What they've done is they've managed to get a lead by just freezing the lanes. They know Hungry for More want to sit back, get to mid game. Meanwhile, they could potentially pressure, find kills, or even have it turned around on them as well. So why not just sit back, freeze the waves, get control of all the minions, and get that lead?
I like what both teams are doing here. You can see Variety in a little bit of trouble. He's fine. Gonna have his blue buff stolen away. He can't walk into this one. Divios teleported to the ward. Left-hand side, though, Zapman and Aror actually backed so they could buy their first items and did have their boars stolen away. So Hungry for More, making note of the back timers and taking advantage of it.
And that's what they need to do. They need to find small wins whenever they can, and that is one. Take those balls away, steal them away from the opposition, and then potentially find things in good positions.
This could be trouble for HFM, but they've got a 3-man rotation, and DJ jumps into trouble.
And there's the Thunder Crush coming out as well, but they've been dragged away for the Ragnarok onto MANALIKE, into the Zeus, all over the wall, but MANALIKE is still tanky enough. djpernicus still alive, and the ultimate coming through from Kuang will execute back in time. This is a crazy fight, 2 for 2, as Prime is now dead.
CaptainTwig up in the sky. He's going to come back down just to farm out mid lane, but overall, a 2 for 2. djpernicus taking so much damage, trying to get MANALIKE to a Zeus, and MANALIKE, no fear, knew exactly how tanky he would be. He had the meditation to stay alive, jumps in place inside the Zeus ult, still just trying to set up kills. Really well played, honestly, from both squads. If DJ doesn't take as much poke there early, could go the other way.
Be very, very careful there. He was trying to backstep and juggle Divios, but now he's in a lot of pressure and he'll go down. Respect the damage from Raven with Tabby and Death's Toll.
Honestly, this is one of Variety's biggest weaknesses. He likes to prove himself. He likes to force fights. And he hasn't, gotten punished for it in quite some time.
Well, what he did there was he actually outplayed himself. He took a backstep. He wanted to take a backstep so he could find the Fearless to chain it. But Divios just stood still and went, all right, keep walking. I'll just keep punching you in the face as you're trying to move back.
I mean, at that point, you need to just play safe. You need to play in your tower. Unfortunately, though, Variety just trying to make waves. Now, 2 levels behind. He's going to have to be sitting under his tower for quite a while, and you can see DJ already coming over here, just gonna farm the wave. Divios is back. This is DJ trying to get back into the game as CaptainTwig actually hit 7 before him.
That is actually Divios going, yo, DJ, come over here and get my wave because I'm 2 levels ahead now. I'm quite comfortable here. You've done all the work, so get some farm from me. Allow more for the best in the mid lane as well to continue working on that build.
The best thing, honestly, for Hungry for More right now is the fact that they're not really far behind in experience. Obviously, there's the 2K gold lead, and there's some power spikes there. CaptainTwig in trouble.
For Twig, early purification comes out. The turnaround burst is good. Pernicus is in trouble, but the Berserk manages to get him away from the danger. With that brutalize the last second archers, just not enough.
And DJ does get the purification, so he's going to be able to look once again for CaptainTwig, but that's twice now that he's gone very aggressive, not respecting the damage coming out of PrettyPrime's Raijin, and almost paid for it that second time as well.
And now MANALIKE going to swing towards the mid lane here, looking for some pressure, but he doesn't have the ultimate out of Prime available.
Bye-bye,
the flop will connect, and there's the Intoxicate too. No, the Intoxicate gets cancelled, and in the end, they do manage to pick him up because CaptainTwig comes on the rotation to clean up best. That's Hungry for More's game plan. MANALIKE is the initiator for this team, and across the way, djpernicus, initiator for Eager.
And a really good job for Hungry for More right now. They're not trying to take even fights. They're not trying to take 3v3s, but look at this. That man on the rotation. Gonna find MANALIKE, can't jump away. He's crippled. DJ's rotated back in, and Divios gets the last hit with his TP. Twig!
If he got plucked there by Aror, that was certain death as well. But now they can look for the Gold Fury here. Only Ataraxia around with the Suns. Out Kuang from mid, half health here. They may just try and bait them in. That's the big one here.
This is
risky.
risky.
If they can bait them in, they could find more kills.
Suns is available, but CaptainTwig forced away, and Gold Fury is going to be reset. Eager, they're just going to back off of this, put some poke into Ataraxia, and pluck out PrettyPriMe.
Prime is in the whole world ahead. The tail whip is good enough to stop him getting away. And now they're looking for Twig, who is out of mana. Ataraxia drops the Suns for help, but now he's going to run away as the Unchained comes out. Body block from DJ as well. Credit to Aror, the kill-stealing support.
And hungry for more, trying to stop the Gold Fury, but unfortunately, they just walk in one at a time and die. Rotation has back from MANALIKE. No ultimate, though. It's going to be nearly impossible to stop this, but he's going to try. DJ actually letting him walk right behind, and they have to reset.
Listen, he used to lane with Rens. He could potentially pull off Gold Fury steals here. This is MANALIKE. He's on Bacchus as well with Intoxicate. Not available just yet. So he's going to actually force them back because they're just worried about it being up.
And that's a really safe call from Eager. They have an advantage. They don't want to throw it away. There is the risk of not only players, being very low. You saw Zapman, and I believe it was TheBest, probably in kill range if that intoxicates up. Maybe they don't know the timer on it. Instead, they just say, we have a lead, we've picked them off, we're up 8-3, as well as a 3K gold lead. Why risk it?
Experience is the big difference here between the two teams. And you look at actually Eager here, 4 members of this team have been involved in 6 kills already, out of a total of 8. That just shows how much teamwork's going into these fights and finding these picks.
And honestly, CaptainTwig and Prime both had about a level lead a minute or two ago, but just those 3 kills have snowballed Eager back into control of the XP and the gold lead. And now Twig, gonna see that speed buff picked up here, trying to get some counter engage going.
Well, at the moment, there's nothing for him to take in the jungle, so have a look around, see if you can find something here. He is level 9, though, which is ahead of djpernicus here by 1 level, but DJ still pressuring him.
Is he lazy backing?
Well, Twig's trying to bait him further, I guess, because he's expecting DJ just to show his face.
But I mean, CaptainTwig's pushed back here, and you can see Aror off the mark on the pluck. Hasn't really been connecting those. Something we normally see him hit on cooldown, but it's okay. He's still ahead.
He hit the one on Prime.
He hit the important one.
He hit the important one. And at 8 minutes in, though, the lead is a bit over the top. 3,000 gold is a big difference between these two teams already. Gold Fury is still not taken as well, and that would just escalate things further if Eager get it.
I said 5,000. I thought 5,000. Oh, look at this. It's the counter ward bait. But they know. I think DJ, honestly, was a little bit around that corner, and he is going to pick up the ward. Gold Fury started once again. Divios over on the right-hand side, though.
But now they know.
Is available.
They should know the Gold Fury is being done. Zeus ult's been dropped. They're not going to be there in time whatsoever. Eager get the first Gold Fury of the game, less than 9 minutes in, and already, well, these guys are looking great.
This is really dangerous for HFM. Coming into this, they had to expect this early game composition, but just one mistake, that's all it took. Twig not respecting the Fenrir Ravana early game, and it's just snowballed this game out of control right now for Hungry for More. I thought 5,000 at 20 minutes was as far behind as they could be, but right now, they're behind that much at only 9.
Only 9 minutes in, but that means there's still time for Hungry for More to come back in. They've just got to weather the storm. Like we said that all through the pre-game here. They just have to hold on. But Eager are developing a leader at an extraordinary pace that's going to be very difficult for Hungry for More to get back into. They will have windows, but those windows will be slight and small, and DJ's one that I'm looking at. They could find one. If he initiates at a bad time, things could get turned on him.
The good thing for HFM is they actually have a ton of burst damage, both from the Raijin and the Bacchus. Kuang can get in there as well, and Wildstorm, once he gets a couple items online, as you can see, 25 flat pin between the Shoes of the Magi and Dynasty Plate Helm. And honestly, if Eager group up, that's going to be their biggest mistake, because the Raijin and Bacchus will shred through teams.
Look at actual items being picked up here. Heartwood Amulet early for Aror, very, very smart. The amount of magical damage on the side of Hungry for More is so strong. 3 members of magical.
MANALIKE messed up.
Extra for
MANALIKE messed up. He actually jumped onto Zapman, and now he has no escape. He's going to fall here. Big mistake.
Down Ataraxia, though, trying to give him a space. Variety teleports in, but now he gets turned on, has to Lawbringer away. PrettyPriMe uses the ultimate, and now Twig surrounded by multiple people. He goes down. Hungry for More in disarray here now as Eager grouped up, still finding picks. Why were we fighting? I don't understand why Hungry for More were fighting
HFM are not used to this pressure. The only team in Europe that could come close is Panthera, and honestly, Panthera don't really look to force the first 12 minutes. It's really that mid-game that they shine at. This is just a team and a style and a meta they've never gone against, and they're going to have to learn. Game 1, it's still possible that they come back. I think they have gods that can, but it's not going to be easy.
Well, I'll tell you what they're learning right now. Their jungle is not their own. Variety he's going to find 2 on his side of the map. No support from his junglers. He just respawned. MANALIKE trying to get over here, but already the blue buff taken by Divios, and now they're looking for the speed. And look at the pressure in mid here. You can still see Zeus and Aror able to rotate to this if required, and here they come.
They're trying to bait MANALIKE again. They want him to jump. They know that's been his big mistake. He's going to ult the speed buff here.
Doesn't get it.
Walk into 3, but he's just taking so much damage. What is he doing?
He's already dead. He got pin locked in place, and now Twig has to illusion away again. Fearless from Variety, but now that's down. Divios is pressuring him, punching him in the back of his head. No Lawbringer available either. He needs to get away soon, and he's going to fall again as Divios picks up another kill.
12-3 in kills. Eager leading about 6,000 gold, and now they're going to be grouping up and starting to take the objectives. PrettyPriMe, he's going to be fine, but it's going to be the first tower of the game here in mid, and Divios just rotates over to the soul lane as well. Variety not spawning for 18. He should be able to take down that tower. But Prime and CaptainTwig showing a little presence in mid, and Eager, they're just playing it safe. They're giving a lot of respect right now to HFM.
And we actually said that there's going to be 1 or 2 windows for Hungry for More to go aggressive and potentially get themselves back in this. The biggest window, and I think the only window I can see left, is the next Gold Fury. If they don't contest that and they don't either find it or at least trade it in terms of kills, this is going to be very quickly over as Eager will just continue pushing this.
And honestly, full credit to djpernicus. He has been a monster this game. 2-1-8. You can see he's actually built into the Urchin, recognizing that he was getting bursted from all that magical damage. CaptainTwig, MANALIKE, and PrettyPriMe, that magical core just shredding through him. So instead, he's just gone into tanking. I think he's going to pick up a runic shield here as well.
The best thing for Eager here is they do manage to go ahead in this game as Variety. Combined onto Divios here without Kuang. The magical damage will help though, but it's not enough to bring him down. Divios still boxing back to them. They're like, well, we're not going to find the pick. Now he's still got ultimate. He could go over towards Fire Giant Pit. He could ult back into lane. Divios is fine. Teleport back if he needs to.
That's just such a massive lead, you know, in that solo. And you can see Divios level 15, Variety only level 12, and CaptainTwig level 11. They're just so far behind in experience, and this is honestly on Eager to drop this game right now. And DJ's going to jump in here. Could be in trouble.
A little bit risky, and that's what DJ's been doing wrong now and again, getting himself out of position. Purification Force and Ragnarok onto him. Zeus ult comes down though, and in the end it's Variety that will fall because he was looking for the pick on Fenrir, and TheBest was just there. Perfect positioning, perfect ultimate.
CaptainTwig going to be spotted out. Jump is off the mark, but the Brutalize is guaranteed damage. CaptainTwig can't even get his ult off in time. Divios finds his 5th kill, and now MANALIKE, he's cursed, he's slowed, and he's got 2 people just swinging away at him.
They're just going to pull him back into the jungle, stop him flopping away, root in place again. MANALIKE's looking for an option to get away. He's going to go in. No follow-up available, though. I like the belch coming out, but Divios might think about going in, and he will, you know, because he's that tanky. He's level 15 already.
And in the meantime, mid lane going to be pressured out. That tower was very low. The core of Eager take out that first tower of the game, and now Gold Fury going to be spawning here in just a few seconds. 8 on the mark. Divios and Aror going to be combining for a tower as well, and hungry for more. I mean, I thought this was going to be the most competitive match. Now, this is only one game.
I agree.
I think this is just outdrafting from Eager. Just flat out outdrafting.
Well, some of it's outdrafting, but some of it's just play style at the beginning of the game. Eager came with a game plan, executed it to perfection. The second Gold Fury going to go their way as well. This will pump up them above 9,000 here, I want to say. Ataraxia going to turn up looking for a play, not going to find it. He's DJ on point on the zone duty.
I almost thought he was going to die. I thought DJ was going to commit there, but not really where anyone else is. You can see DJ, he's just been the setup guy. 2-1-10, only level 12. CaptainTwig actually equal in experience to him, but DJ, he doesn't need to be the star. All he does is just allow the best to shine.
I think the biggest thing that we could have seen out of Hungry for More this game is in picks and bans, they found one winning lane. Not one of these lanes wins on paper.
I think the Kuang was probably the worst thing they could pick in jungle. Unfortunately, though, they banned away 4 junglers themselves, and Eager took away the other 2.
Variety surrounded by 2, trying to do what he can to get away. Lawbringer is still available, but obviously Divios can follow up immediately with his ultimate too.
He's done.
There's the Lawbringer, there's the follow-up, punch to the back of the head one more time. Gets a bit of sustain. Variety getting some support, root misses, but Divios is fine as the drums of war are sounding for Prime, trying to do something on his own. He's got no rotation coming, he's just there alone.
Really good job by him. djpernicus in a little bit of trouble, is in execute range, and finally a return kill for Hungry for More. CaptainTwig picks up that one. Just gonna farm up, but I mean, this game could be too little too late. Eager just stealing away the jungle.
Not sure it's too little too late because there's a little bit over-aggression from Eager here now. They're so far ahead, they realize it. But like DJ is going aggressive in mid on his own. He saw his teammates were over on the right-hand side. Instead, pressured mid lane on his own, got caught out of position. If he keeps doing that, he's creating a window for Hungry for More to find a way in.
Look at this, Aror has been over in the solo lane for so long now, level 14, higher than any single player on HFM besides Ataraxia. That is a support. DJ is actually level 12. I feel like Auror's been farming more efficiently than DJ.
Well, someone who's farming very well. He's Zapman, level 16 right now, 9,000 gold for himself. His player damage, on the other hand, very low, just like him and Ataraxia. I expected it to be low in this lane. I don't think we're going to see much of a boxing match, but Zapman doesn't need to do that. He just farms up, and his rotations, though, on point.
And that's all he did. That was actually the start of Ego really dominating. Obviously, there was about the 2K lead after Twig dropped for first blood, but then Zapman rotates in, and he did a really weird rotation. He actually went into the opponent's red buff and then cut in on the top side of those mid-harpies, dropped his ultimate, MANALIKE was stuck there, crippled out, couldn't get away, blown up, and then one at a time, that's when HFM, this was about 9 minutes in, I believe, started funneling in, just getting picked off one player at a time, and it was the first Gold Fury.
And look at the confidence out of Ego there. djpernicus walks into the enemy jungle by the speed buff, drops the goes to the sentry ward, clears out the enemy hungry for more ward, and he just 3 members look at him like, well, we don't know where the rest of the team are. We can't even do anything about this.
The only thing I'm really surprised about from Ego right now is DJ's build. Obviously, he went into the Urchin, it's all protections, but the Void Shield, I think it came a little bit too early. I think a magical defense item was going to be better in that situation because he is getting damaged from so many mages.
Real respect from Ego there. Look how far back they played. They were actually trying to bait in a little bit, that team of Hungry for More, so DJ could come around the back, but red buff is available. DJ's starting out on his own, and the Hungry for More, no, there's 3 members in left lane, and they can't contest this. They have to give this up too.
And now here, there's just tier 2 towers left. The question is Eager going to play it slow, wait for the Gold Furies, maybe get about, 4,000 to 5,000 ahead again, or are they just going to look to push lanes? You can see Aror looping around, trying to force something. They want to bait HFM out into the lane so they can pick them off with Aror.
Variety on the right-hand side here, considering doing something over the wall. He's got a blink available for himself, but tier 2 being tagged by Aror here is an opportunity for Hungry for More to go in, as they were trying to backdoor it a little bit, and it's Divios going to be the last one out there as Aror gets knocked up, but a defensive ult from Zapman comes out. It's MANALIKE, who's not in a good position now, going to get pulled back into danger, and the detonate from Best is good. First man down, and Ego continuing in.
And Divios in the back line just dealing with all these carries. Ataraxia can't get away. Divios is 1v3 under Phoenix and finds Ataraxia. He will get returned out, and you can see CaptainTwig could decide to go back in. Aror just going to be off the mark on Variety. He's going to get away, but it is a 1-for-2 in favor of Eager.
And the tier 2 tower stays up as well, which is important for Hungry for More there. And finding kills now, there is shutdown bonus available on some of these guys of Eager, so finding those will give them a window. Tier 2 finally does fall in mid though. Look at the stats and the graphs there. You can see gold from that fight was beneficial to Hungry for More before the tower fell, and that was important.
And honestly, the big thing here is PrettyPriMe is doing so much damage, but this lead that Eager has gained, it's almost insurmountable. 18 minutes in, 11,000 gold, nearly 15,000 experience. This is just pressure that Hungry for More has never played against. This is a learning game for them, I think, and I definitely know that their draft phase will be different in game 2.
A lot of people have been coming into this saying Eager look very, very strong this year, potentially the best team in North America. Finished second overall, did beat out Soar for that spot, ended up on Panthera's side of the bracket, and when I asked them about it, they were like, we want to beat the best. You want to fight the best teams in the world, so we want Panthera's side. We're happy about this. They were
really happy. They really wanted to face Panthera. Obviously, if they ran into the first round, it's a little bit of a different story, but I mean, they're coming out swinging. They're coming out and trying to show Europe.
And my concern was that they may overlook Hungry for More here, because Hungry for More's run has been fantastic. They haven't overlooked them, though.
No.
They've come into this set prepared, they've banned out correctly, they've picked correctly, and allowed Hungry for More to just dig their own grave.
Now, Gold 3 are going to be started up. The first 2 over to Eager. Going to be picking up this 3rd one as well. You can see MANALIKE backing on your minimap. He stopped it, but still not going to be able to get to this Gold Tier. And I think now it's probably about time for Fire John. I think Eager are going to be looking to bait that in. Even if it's stolen away, it's kind of a situation where they'll be able to pick up multiple kills and snowball into the towers and Phoenixes.
I think the first thing they're looking for is tier 2 tower left, because you can see the amount of wards they've got down this left-hand side in the jungle here. Multiple sentry roads all the way back to the back harpies here. They get full control of the jungle, and where DJ stood now in the jungle, just hovering there, making sure nobody can make a rotation, so they get free pressure on the tier 2 left. Meanwhile, boy Divios, who just 3v1'd a second ago, is over on his own side at a low.
Variety going to teleport in, and you can see Ataraxia burning his ult as well, just trying to stop Eager's aggression.
But what does that get him?
And
Divios,
I mean, they at least delayed the tower for a short bit. They couldn't rotate over to the right-hand side anyway, and he will get this tower almost guaranteed here.
Well, he should be, I mean, but he's going to respect Twig coming in potentially more, so both towers stay standing for now, but Eager just pulling a Hungry for More around where they want them to go more often than not.
And look at that, they didn't even back off of the tower like HFM probably suspected. They walked into the jungle, they knew they had the sentry wards there, and the second the wave came up to the tower again, they just went right back at it. A little bit of poke, and Ataraxia, he's got to take a trip back to base.
Well, with that wall coverage there, Variety got spotted making a rotation, trying to swing on the back, and gets engaged on by DJ, but obviously both around the same level there. We're not going to see a kill, but the tier 2 tower falls on left.
And Variety forced back here. He was actually debating if he wanted to fight djpernicus, but I mean, he's a warrior who's pretty far behind right now, doesn't want to risk it. CaptainTwig looks like he wants to defend his speed buff, but this is going to be a massive mistake if he does.
Unfortunately, enough Unchained missed there. Going to take some return damage from Twig, and Twig, well, DJ's going to be respectful there. Forces Sanctuary as well. So not a bad little play coming out from CaptainTwig there, and DJ was feeling himself a little bit too much, especially against now Kuang, this equal level relatively.
That's the lack of magical protection he's picked up. Obviously, he has the Urchin, but just having one other defensive item going to be very useful for him. I am surprised he hasn't picked that up, that he went into the Void Shield instead, but he does have that aura that is going to be reducing the protections, and it's going to allow Divios and Zapman to do more damage. So if he's in the fight, his carries are swinging harder.
And Zapman, well, he's just been farming away quite happily. Now got a Rage online for himself too. And take into account, Zapman, most kills in North America this year overall. The only person ahead of him adapting in Europe.
I believe 137 coming out from him, and adapting's no surprise there. He was the best player in the world last year. I think he's lost a little bit of that luster, but that's also because Panthera just as a unit shines so well.
You mentioned luster. Zapman has luster this year. He's really shown up big.
He's back.
Not only in his playstyle, and that's what a lot of people said. Is he past his best? Is he here now? He's back, but he's more improved. He's more focused. He's more patient in a lot of situations. And the Fire Giant going to go the way of Eager, and nobody from Hungry for More can get near because good old Aror on the zone duty against 5.
This is the best Zap we've seen. He's going to find a pick on a CaptainTwig as well. Best with the last hit, and Aror just on zone duty that entire time.
That's just heard us say that Zap had the most kills and was like, no, Zap, you're not having that one.
Gotta steal it away.
Not taking that at all.
He's only got 2 this match. He's actually third.
Actually third in this.
He's tied for third.
Right-hand side go Eager. A couple of members going to go back to base and just continue buying. Divios does have teleport available to come back in. Actually, Divios so confident, gone for chins already in this build. Teleports back in, and tier 2 are going to drop down. And, well, Hungry for More, they've got a hard defense here. They've got 3 Phoenixes left against a Fire Giant team of Eager. It's a hell of an ask, but it's doable.
HFM are going to need a miracle. We need to see Bacchus find a 3+ man Intoxicate, and PrettyPriMe has to hit every single hit onto the squishies if he can. DJ jumps in though, and bye-bye MANALIKE.
Nothing he could do to get away from that whatsoever. He got pressured for free, and meanwhile Divios is just punching Ataraxia, forcing him back. Phoenix now falls 20-5. First Phoenix down, 23 minutes in.
Second Phoenix here, getting aggressed on. No one has fallen yet from Hungry for More outside of MANALIKE, so there it is. Variety looking to force something, but just completely dodged out, plucked back into the fight. One more hit, Zapman finds the kill, and PrettyPriMe, his ult is down as well. No way HFM can defend this.
And as Divios pushes them back there, I want to give full credit to Aror. That tail whip was on point. Variety blink, tail whip immediately to stop Tyr aggressing any further. Eager burst him down, find the kill. They knew that was Hungry for More's last chance. Once MANALIKE falls, the only engage they had was Tyr. They took Tyr down, they take the Phoenix, and they're looking for the third.
For Hungry for More to win this, Eager are going to have to unplug their keyboards and mice. And here goes MANALIKE once again, spawned back into death. PrettyPriMe very low. Zapman can't find it, but still 5 members strong here. Looking at the last Phoenix, Twig poked out. PrettyPriMe will be able to heal up, but there's only 3 left to defend.
A patient game though from Eager. They've not messed around. They've taken objectives when they can, but they've not overforced things time and time again. There's a little bit of plays here and there where Hungry for More had windows where they just aggressed a bit too much. 4 of those kills went to Twig as well, which is great for them, but they just couldn't find any more off that.
What I think Hungry for More has been doing recently is probably talking about the next game. Now, it's something you almost never want to do. You don't really want to be talking and looking forward. It's pretty demoralizing. But with how bad they started and with the composition Eager had, I think they know that this game's over. It's really about looking to adjust. And it is going to be this low pressure. Well, the lanes all across the map, they all lost.
All lanes. And MANALIKE is the engage for this team.
Yes.
We knew that, we mentioned it. They went with Bacchus for this game as well. Now, Bacchus is great, but against his comp, Purification was definitely an option for him. He went Meditation and Sprint. After being picked early, going for the Sprint instead of the Meditation, I'm not so sure about. He was looking for that to get away from the slows from Frostbound Hammer, as well as the damage from the Chain Lightning from the best, but the beads would have kept him alive longer. Purification was more important, I feel.
And that's what we talked about, you know, in the preview to this game, where the North American meta changed because Eager started playing Sobek Awilix, where they would just abuse the supports who didn't pick up Purification because they were locked into a team fighting relic. They would go the shells or the meditations, and then Eager's just like, well, we'll just kill them. They're not tanking enough early game. We'll get very early pin and just force fights off of that. And EU, they don't do that. They don't have that meta, and this is them having to face it for the first time.
Well, they're facing it now, and now just watching Eager pushing all the lanes, waiting for fire minions from all angles. They don't want to make a single mistake in game 1. Hungry for More, though, they're going to sit here, get some farm, which is the best thing they can ask for. Some farm, some gold to just try and finish off some items to try and fight the onslaught that's about to happen.
Divios pushing up here, and Eager just waiting for the fire waves. They've got one on right. They've got one in mid, and it looks like the one in left is pushed up as well. So what they're trying to do right now is actually split up Hungry for More. They don't want to take a guaranteed 5v5 fight. They want to have the minions in their advantage, and here we go.
Ataraxia already in a lot of trouble there. The Sanctuary will pop the Cupid Heart Bomb in range of the of the Fountain, so get away. But MANALIKE is going to go down yet again, and now the best turn by Variety, who's trying to make a play. But look at the target selection coming out there from Eager, time and time again, beautifully. Best does fall, though, for his second death of the game. But this won't stop Eager looking to win game one.
DJ in a little bit of trouble, but he picks up a kill on the Twig, and now Eager actually forced back. Hungry for More fighting back, but DJ coming up with the double kill. Zapman around the corner as well, and it's only a matter of time. Dia side for Eager, and they're going to win game one versus Hungry for More.
Great performance from Eager already. They came in with picks and bans. They executed it perfectly. Absolute systematic destruction of their opposition.
It was kind of what I expected, right? We saw the late game composition from HFM. We saw the early game from Eager, but HFM just didn't expect it, it seems, or just kind of made one mistake. All it was the first blood, and everything spiraled out of control for there. Full credit to that man on your screen. djpernicus ran this game for Eager. They played through him getting ahead early, and he came up and he showed up.
Great performance from the captain of the team, and he just went in there, found the first pick of the game. He could have gone over to Divios, but it went DJ's way, and that's great for him. Getting that first blood, got him Warrior Tabby early, still with Power Potion available, hits level 5 a little bit quicker, allowed to pressure time and time again, and every lane was a winning lane in picks and bans in Eager's favor.
We also talked about the solo lane matchup. Divios 8-1, and I believe it was 14 on that Robin. He played Robin 14 games during the split. On the other side, it's Variety, who played here 12 games to split. Both these players played their best god almost half of the time. And here we have on screen a little bit of jungle control. You can see 62% at only 5 minutes by Eager.
62% of the whole map controlled by them that early on. And that was from mid-harpies to pressuring them away from speed buff, stealing the speed buff at the beginning of the game. That was the big important one. That early speed just set Kuang up into a really bad situation. CaptainTwig did find kills, though. I think the Kuang's okay, but your lanes have to have a little bit more control in them.
The problem was that it took too long for him to get online. Obviously, once he had his damage, once he had his Polynomicon, he had a massive power spike and was able to pick up the squishies in the back. I actually really liked that pick into the Zeus because you can blink in or water illusion in and get behind the Zeus if Aurora isn't paying attention well enough. And otherwise, Aurora has to sit hip to hip with TheBest, and he can't force any fights.
Well, here's the thing. When you look at the picks and ban, the way it all went, the biggest thing was Cupid.
Yes.
You know why? Because that was the lane that was going to win. MANALIKE and the
Bacchus Ho-Yi.
Bacchus Ho-Yi are great on paper. The Cupid comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we lose every lane now. Not just mid, not just jungle early pressure, not just solo lane, every lane.
And the lack of purification as well. MANALIKE, I mean, I don't know how ready EU is for the NA meta, but if it's kind of that same story where Eager run a pick-based comp, which they're going to. That is what they shine at. That's what they've done the best at. If they don't pick up purification on their support and they run into the same issue, it's probably going to snowball out of control.
There's a problem there. When we saw Hungry for More on screen, there's no one speaking. That's the worst thing you can ask for. Nobody really speaking. I mean, okay, take a moment or two, but you need somebody to try and like stir you on, get things going off a little bit better.
I mean, that was a very demoralizing game. They came out, even Panthera, you know, world champions, thought that they were going to win that. And that wasn't like a close game where Eager just edged them out with an early game comp. That was just mistakes across the board, starting with picks and bans, and then it just snowballed out of control from there. CaptainTwig messes up. Okay, we can maybe get over that. But then, once again, we saw him at level 2, forced it back again. He got pressured out. MANALIKE on the rotations, doesn't pick up purification, trying to force fights when his team needs to stay defensive. Variety, getting very aggressive, trying to push Divios under tower, and he managed to do so, but then he just got turned on to kill. It's a matchup maybe he wasn't used to, and now Hungry for More. They're gonna have to fix those, and they don't have a long time to do so.
So Ravana, Divios' Ravana was so good that game. Overall, he 3v1'd at some points in that game as well. Is it worthwhile banning that away? Because he's run it so many times this season.
I mean, we talked about it. So I was talking a little bit to Eager, and you know what they basically say is that you need pressure in either jungle solo or jungle mid, and that's why their starts will actually switch up depending. If they don't feel they can win the 1v1 in solo, or if they don't feel like they can win the 2v2 in mid, they'll guarantee that the other person is closer to lane. So if they want solo to have pressure, they'll go speed into blue, and if they want mid to have pressure, it's going to be blue into speed. And Divios, if he gets Ravin, it doesn't matter where they start. He can always control the lane.
Always control the lane because 2v1, 1v1 is going to be great for himself there. Like we said, he 3v1 at certain points in that game as well. He got a good kill onto Variety, just chasing him down over and over again. And actually, we'll see some of his action here. This is the one where Variety stutter steps looking to Fearless, and Divios just stands still, which means Variety can't find the Fearless. Watch it. You see how he walks backwards with him? Variety was looking for a Fearless, and it took longer for him to find it, and that extra window allowed Divios to pick up the kill.
And even then, even if he hits the Fearless at the beginning, though, he's probably going to get pressured out there. Probably should have just walked into tower, not really, I would say probably overestimating the tier there.
Well, first of all, he waited to save ultimate. He could have just ulted over the wall to safety Whitey, but then doing that is a free win for Divios, so you don't do that. Instead, you walk back to the tower, but do you want to take free poke on the way? No, you want to return some poke. So he tries to return the poke, and instead ends up losing his life because Divios was ready for that. He knew that he was going to stutter step.
It's Variety's biggest weakness. We've seen it. When he's ahead, where he just likes to prove himself. He likes to outplay his opponent, which, don't get me wrong, that is one of, I would say, Hunger for More's greatest strengths sometimes, right? If he can get a single level lead, especially on his tier, we've seen him run games. Like, that's not really a bad style to have. It's simply a risky style to have.
What's that? Was that a group photo coming out from Eager there? They're all...
Wait, were they taking pictures?
No, it looked like it. Because the webcam there as well. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, on screen there, you can see the coach, I believe his name is Belsinger for Eager. He does all the math for Zapman's builds as well as the teams, and he kind of runs the squad and tells them, you know, he doesn't tell them how to play team fights, he doesn't tell them how to play their gods, but if it comes to numbers, he knows it.
Well, there's Frezzy on the screen as well.
That's not a good
Played
phase.
that Bacchus. It was a rough game. It wasn't an easy game for him to have at all in that one. Purification could have helped him a little bit, I want to say. He started with Meditation, which is fine. Maybe look at Purification later, but he went for the sprint, looking to get away from the slopes.
You know, I don't mind the Meditation. I think it can be it can be so dominant in lane. I think we saw IRAF first start it up, and what it does is it allows you to guarantee lane control, but they couldn't get that lane control. And because he had the Meditation, which was essentially useless outside of that early laning phase and then kind of team fights late game, we saw him get picked off. 0, 9, and 4. He was the target of Eager, and he went down every single time they wanted him down.
And I actually want to see you focus on the solo laner here instead. Focus on Divios a little bit, try and hit that god pull, take away the Raven, stop focusing on the jungler so much, because both these junglers have deep god pulls, and Fenrir and Kuang are still great gods. That was 6 jungle bans in that game, and we still saw Fenrir and Kuang, which will tell you about the jungle strength.
And I believe the Fenrir was picked up before the Kuang?
It was.
The Kuang was last picked into that, right? And yeah, and it's like, if you're not going to pick up a jungle early or pick it up in the first spot in the second phase, why are you banning away 4 junglers, right? You're limiting your options. Obviously, you limit DJs as well, but, I mean, DJ has a Fenrir. He's had a Fenrir forever. Did they just forget about that?
They went the counter pick, I guess, more than anything.
Possibly.
That was what they were looking for.
I mean, that's not a good counter pick.
I'd like to see Twig even...